you walked up to her and you punched her.
I don't agree with that.
Are you making any excuses for that?
They had each other's hair.
I'm done with you. Put him out.
Okay, let's roll. Because my child ain't standing here without me.
You can take her if you want.
This is Judy Justice. Sophia Johnson and her husband, Christopher Anderson, are suing Devontae Greer for medical bills, property damage, and lost wages caused by an assault.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please. Uncross your arms.
Judge, case 3183, Johnson Anderson versus Greer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You weren't present during any of the activities that you allege in this petition. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Nor were you.
Correct.
You're her parents.
Correct.
You can sit down. You can step up.
Okay.
And you were not present during any of the activities that are alleged in this petition. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
How are you related to the defendant?
I am her uncle and her guardian.
You can have a seat.
Yes, ma'am.
Stand up. Your first name is?
My first name is Marley.
And yours?
Justice.
How old are you?
I'm 15.
And you?
14.
How long have you known each other?
We met each other this year.
Who was new to the school?
Me.
You were?
Yes.
Just this past semester?
Yes.
Okay. Marley, this petition says that you had some difficulty with the defendant.
Yes, ma'am.
And that she assaulted you, that you were injured, and that was not far from school.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so I'd like you to keep your voice up and tell me when this happened.
Okay. This all started September 21st in 2023.
December 21st, and I want you to do something. You know, young people know how to listen to each other when they talk fast. Mm-hmm. I am no longer young. You don't have to speak in slow motion, but speak the way I'm speaking.
Okay.
Got it?
I got it.
Good. December 21st.
Okay, September 21st, 2023, me and Justice took a class together, and it was our last period class. We were taking a test, and our teacher had stepped out the room for a second.
Yep, you're talking fast.
Okay.
Your teacher asked.
No, our teacher had stepped out of class for a second, and me and my friend started talking. When the teacher arrived back in the classroom, she said, "Stop talking to us." We stopped talking, but Justice and her friend were continuing to talking behind us. So my teacher told me to bring her my test, and I was going to receive a 0 for the test.
Okay.
And then I told her that that was not me talking. So my teacher told me to point at who was talking. So I pointed at Justice.
Was Justice talking?
Yes.
You remember this incident?
Yes.
Were you talking? Look at me. If you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory, right? Because one way or another, he's taking down everything. And this is not my first rodeo. So I'm going to ask you a question. After the teacher told them to stop talking, did you continue to talk?
No.
Okay. Did you hear Marley tell the teacher that you were talking?
Yes.
And when Marley told the teacher that you were the one talking, did the teacher ask you if you were the one talking?
No.
What did she do?
I really don't remember what did she do, but...
We're not talking about 5 years ago. We're talking about an important event. Something bad happened to you as a result of this event. What do you mean you don't remember? Look at me. What happened after Marley told the teacher that she wasn't talking, you were?
I got angry, because...
You got angry?
Yeah.
Okay. That's not unreasonable. You got angry because?
She pointed at me and I wasn't talking, and she told the teacher it wasn't me.
So did you tell the teacher it wasn't you?
Yes.
And what did the teacher do? Come on.
I'm trying to think.
Just a second. Has this happened to you before in school?
Yes.
Oh, well, I was going to say, if it hadn't happened to you before, I would say that this is an important event, but it's happened to you before. What did the teacher do with regard to your test?
I don't know. I think she took the test too. She told me I couldn't take it anymore.
Okay. And what did you say to her?
I said, "Don't point at me." And she pointed at me again, and I said something like...
Let me hear what you said to her.
I called her a B word.
Okay, and you said that in class?
Yes.
Okay. And then the class was ultimately over?
Yes.
Tell me what happened after class.
Well, after class, me and Justice got in It was an altercation, but it was verbal.
In the classroom?
Yes, and our teacher sent an administrator to come get us out of class and talk about it. And
Okay,
me and
because
the-
you started yelling at each other
Yes, Your Honor.
in front of your teacher.
Yes.
Okay.
The administrator told us, like, is it a big deal or not? Me and her both agreed it wasn't a big deal. It was dead right there. So then I'm walking to the bus lane. So I was waiting at the bus, and then next thing I know, somebody got my hair and I'm getting punched.
Your ward told me that she went to where she was.
No, she said that there was a coincidence and they ended in the same spot. Those are her exact
Lost.
Those are her
Lost.
exact words, verbatim.
You're lost.
Those
You're
are her
lost.
words,
I don't know who
verbatim.
made you her guardian. I don't know
Those
who
are
made you
her
her
words,
guardian. Some
verbatim.
fool.
Sophia Johnson and her husband, Christopher Anderson, claim Devontae Greer owes for damages after his 14-year-old niece attacked their 15-year-old daughter at school.
Who got your hair? Did you see?
I didn't know who grabbed my hair because I was turned one way, and when I was turned this way, somebody grabbed my hair and punched me. And then when I turned around, it was Justice.
Was there anybody else there other than you and Justice?
Yes, it was the whole school. It was dismissal, so everybody was going to their buses.
Was anybody around Justice when you saw her and you got punched?
No, because when I turned around, I started defending myself, so everybody moved back, but everybody was recording.
Okay. Justice, have you seen these recordings?
Yes, I seen one.
Well, you want to tell me what happened at the bus stop?
Can I like rewind back before?
Of course.
Okay, like when we talked it out or whatever with the administrator, and I thought we were cool like after we got done having, yeah. So it was time for dismissal to go out to like the buses and stuff. And I see her in the hallway with her friends, and I walked past her, and she stopped me. She was like, "We good or something? Like, we good?" I'm like, "Yes, we good. Like, everything cool." So I'm walking out to the buses or whatever, and
Look here. Don't go there. Look here. You're
It's-
walking out to the bus
Yeah.
and
yeah, and it's like a little spot where people sit to wait for their buses and stuff. But I didn't see her after like we said we was good and stuff. So someone came up to me and told me like she wanted to fight me and all of this, and I'm like, we just squashed it in like the class and we talked about it. So I don't understand why she go back and like. So I like walked up to her, I tapped her, I asked her, I'm like,
no, you walked up to her.
yeah, it wasn't like a trying to check her or anything. It was just
Okay.
like asking her, did she like say all that stuff? Like I didn't get mad, get rude or nothing. I asked her respectfully, like, did she say anything, like any of that stuff? She said yes. So she turned around and then I forgot what I said. I think I was like, you said I didn't want to fight you or nothing, so do you want to fight me now? Because you said I didn't want to fight you. So I'm asking you, do you want to fight? So she put her hand in my face. She turned around, she said, girl. So like, I felt like I should defend myself. She put her hand in my face.
This is your guardian, right?
Yes.
He's going to stand up next to you. Very careful what you tell me because there's video of it all. I want you to show me what you mean when you say she put her hand in your face. Show me.
Like she did this and turned.
Now you can sit down.
Yes, ma'am.
She put her hand up and she turned around to walk in the other direction, like this. I want to know where you hit her.
In her head.
Okay. Now, after you hit her in her head, did you start to fight with each other?
Yes, I
You
defended
started to
myself.
fight.
Yes.
And people started to videotape the fight.
Yes.
Did you have any friends there?
I was standing by my friend, but then when she had walked up and when she had hit me, she moved away, and it was just us two fighting, and then the crowd formed, and it was just like everybody was there.
Did you hit her?
Yes.
How many times?
We was fighting a long time.
Did you hit her?
Yes.
How many times?
I can't count.
Have you ever been in a fight before?
Yes.
How many times?
Once.
The same year?
No,
Year before?
middle school.
Ever been in a fight before?
Yes.
When?
Probably like middle school.
Your mother?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever get into a fight?
No, nothing.
Physical?
No, ma'am.
Sit down. Did you ever get into a physical fight with anybody?
Negative.
Ever get into a fight, Whitney? I'm just curious.
No.
You know how bizarre this sounds to me? Really bizarre. Now I'll see the video. Who's in the white? I can hardly tell.
That's justice that's being attacked by the adult officer.
And you're in the dark top, fighting with the officer, right? Well, he's trying to pull you off and you're not letting go. That's what I see. Am I seeing that wrong?
Justice is holding her hair.
Just a second.
They had each other's hair.
By the way, I just thought maybe I misheard that.
Ma'am?
Did you say something about the officer attacking her?
There was an officer in the video punching Justice in her head. Yes, ma'am, I did say that. Yes, there
Yeah,
is.
just a second.
A
Are you
grown
making
woman.
any excuses for that behavior?
I'm saying that a grown adult has no right to punch a child, so that's not an
They're
excuse.
killing each other.
I'm not a
They're
fool, but
killing
a
each
grown-
other.
You as an adult would
Just
punch
a second.
child.
I would never have a child that was involved in that kind of behavior.
Well, it's-
That's what you should, just a second. That's what you should be dealing with. You too. That's what you should be dealing with.
Well,
Children.
There's a bullying situation. You only can take so much bullying. When you're a new student and you don't know anybody in the school, you just started a week or two prior to that, yeah.
Lost. Didn't you understand? I'm not excusing the fight, but there was no fight until the punch. Do you understand that? Forget bullying, there was no fight until the punch.
There's ways to be attacked without and feel offended, and people are coming into your private, personal space without them throwing a blow at you. So I don't agree with that.
Well, I don't give a rat's behind what you agree with, sir.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you that she didn't go into her space. She went into her space. She walked up to the bus stop.
Can you show me
That's
that in
what
the video? They were both at the bus
No.
stop. She
Listen,
touches the bus just as well.
Sir, why don't you listen to what your ward told me?
If you look at the beginning of the video, you see Marley is literally on her phone with her book bag, her purse.
I didn't see that.
Yes, ma'am.
Me
So at the
neither.
beginning, you can see the
Well,
girl.
just a second. Can we go back and slow motion that?
Sophia Johnson and her husband, Christopher Anderson, are accusing Devontae Greer's 14-year-old niece of starting a fight by punching their 15-year-old daughter at school.
She told me that girls had come and yada, yada, yada in her ear, that she was saying nasty stuff about her.
Okay.
That sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me.
Okay.
Your ward told me that she went to where she was.
No, she said that there was a coincidence and they ended in the same spot. Those are her exact
Lost.
words. Those are her
Lost.
exact words, verbatim.
You're lost.
Those
You're
are her
lost.
words
I don't know who
verbatim.
made you her guardian. I don't know
Those
who
are
made you her
words
guardian. Some
verbatim.
fool.
I wish we could rewind, because that's what she said. We ended in the same space by coincidence, because
Okay.
they both catch the bus.
I'm walking out to the buses or whatever, but I didn't see her after, and we said we were good and stuff. So someone came up to me and said everything she was saying. She wanted to fight me, all of this. And I'm like, we just squashed it in class, and we talked about it. So I don't understand why she would go back and yeah. So I see her outside. So I walked up to her, tapped her.
I walked up to her and
It was asking her, did you say all that stuff when we just squashed it? I asked her. I didn't get mad or rude or nothing. I was like, you said you didn't want to fight me. Do you want to fight? She put her hand in my face and said, girl. So I felt like I should defend myself. She put her hand in my face.
I never put my hand in her face.
Who took that video?
It was posted on Instagram and they sent it to me, so that's how I got it.
Do you know who posted it on Instagram? It has to have
I don't know exact who, but it was one of her friends.
Is it one of your
That
friends who
reported
posted it on Instagram?
Well, it was a lot of people reposting the video. That's were my friends that were reposting the video, but the account, we never knew who actually posted the video.
Your Honor, if I may.
Sure, you can.
If you look at the beginning of the video, whoever's recording, knowing what's going to happen because it's a little boy walking by, she's like, move, move. You see Marley is literally on her phone with her book bag, her purse.
I didn't see that.
Yes, ma'am.
Me
So at the
neither.
beginning, you can see the
Well,
girl
just a second. Can we go back and slow motion that?
standing behind Marley and just attack her.
Where does she pull her hair?
Oh, just a second. Can we slow motion that again, please? Justice, you see that back in long black pants, long black hair, and the white shirt. Is that you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we're going to do it in slow motion. Slow. So you're walking slow, slow, slow. You want to see that again, Justice?
I seen it.
Just a
Look.
second.
You don't see Marley
Just a
in the
second.
video at all.
No, that looks to me as if you walked up to her and your hand came back and you punched her. That's what I
exactly
see.
What I said I did.
No, I don't want to hear from you. I'm done with you. You want to do that again? Let's do it slow motion again. You're walking up to her, and as you're walking up to her, you pull your right arm back and punch her. That's what that looks like.
I never said I didn't do that. I told you
Okay.
exactly.
I didn't see any. Girl, did you talk to me? Did you really want to fight me? I want to fight you. Hand in your face. I didn't see any of that, Justice. I just saw you walking up to her, and as you were walking up to her, pulling your hand back and punching her. That's what that video shows. Do you want to see it again?
I seen it multiple times.
Well, you can imagine whatever you want. It's not fantasy land. That's what that shows. Not all this palaver before that you've sold him on.
She didn't sell me.
Kevin, put him out.
This way, sir.
Put him
Just 'cause
out.
You can come right with me.
Put him out. You can
'Cause I'm
take
not
her if you
standing here
want.
without
You
my
can
child.
take her if you want.
Okay, let's roll. Because my child ain't standing here without me.
Very good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $10,000. We're done.
Thank you.
This
Your
court is adjourned.
After seeing the video only depicts part of the truth. The conversation was actually had before that.
The video was clear as day that she hit Marley. Marley was engaged in her phone, in her own world, and she came behind her and attacked her.
Well, this was a classic case of a bully beatdown. Someone who picks on you, intimidates you, and then when they get those hands or they take that beatdown, then they want to come to the courts and play all those games.
It was no bullying.
I would say violence is not the answer, but if somebody picking on you and you got to give them them hands, hey, so be it.
Keep your hands to yourself.
You know, I sat in the family court long enough to know that with that kind of guardian, even if she was redeemable at her young age, it's going to be a long haul. Because the only thing that he found offensive was what he said the officer was behaving improperly. I don't remember what he said, punched her.
Yeah.
There was nothing in that video that suggested that the two officers was trying to do anything but pull these two girls apart, and they wouldn't let go.
Putting themselves in harm's way, and now a mob of students who are recording, who are hyped up, all because of your child's actions. So maybe you focus on that instead of the actions of others who were doing nothing more than try to discipline your child because they didn't know how to act.
Right. And there was no question when you watched that in slow motion that she came up to her and sucker punched her from behind. Well, that has to stop.
It's crazy.
She really got hurt. And the person who was supposed to give this young lady sound advice is blabbering in her ear that she was a victim. She was a victim because she's just in the school and she was being bullied. Well, that's not what the video showed. That wasn't the facts. And fortunately, with everybody walking around with a camera, you can actually record events.
Yeah, but sadly, that doesn't help the victim mentality that's being shoved down her throat by her own guardian.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
But fortunately,
it helps our job.
It helps our job. But to have it, you hit her with your motorcycle.
I did.
She was on the side of the road.
Are you suggesting that he hit her on purpose? She was jaywalking in the middle of the street, right?
He was not in the middle of the road when he hit her.
I don't care. He was where he was supposed to be. She was not where she was supposed to be.
This is Judy Just. Casey Griffin is suing motorcyclist Jeffrey Pearson for damages after Casey's 16-year-old daughter, Kennedy, was struck by Jeffrey while crossing the streets.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Judge, case 3184, Griffin versus Pearson.
Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome.
This was an accident. Your daughter was involved in an accident, in an automobile accident. She was a pedestrian.
Yes, ma'am.
You were not there.
I was not.
Okay, so why don't you sit down, daughter, stand up. Tell me your first name.
Kennedy.
Kennedy, on what day were you involved in an accident?
December 28th.
What time?
Around 6, between 6 and 7 o'clock at night.
Dark.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you live?
I live in Fulton, but the accident happened in Jeff City.
In what state?
Missouri.
You were on foot. You were walking.
Mm-hmm.
Where were you going to or coming from?
I was leaving my sister's house across the street, and I was crossing the street to get to my brother's car.
So go over there and show me where you were crossing. Show me your sister's house.
I'm not sure which one it is.
You're right in the middle of the block.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're leaving your sister's house in the middle of the block, and show me where you were going.
I was going across to over here.
You were crossing in the middle of the street, and it was dark.
Yes.
When you cross the street in the middle of the block in the dark, are there street lamps on that street? Yes or no? Do you know? Or if you don't know, tell me I don't know.
I don't know.
Are there street lamps on your street?
There are, but most of them don't work.
Okay, so there are no street lights. If they don't work, then there are no lights. So it's dark, right?
Yes.
And you're crossing in the middle of the block. You wearing any reflective clothing?
No.
So tell me what happened.
So me and my brother went to visit my sister. She lives in Jeff City, which is 30 minutes away.
I got all that. You're crossing the street.
We were gonna leave, so we were gonna get in my brother's car instead of my sister's. My brother had parked across the street, and he had already crossed the street, so I was going behind him. I had looked both ways. There was nobody coming, so I was crossing the street, and my sister was behind me. She hadn't gotten on the street yet. And as I'm walking, in my peripheral vision, I see a motorcycle come from off the intersection, turn onto the road that I'm walking on, and I wasn't close to the end of the road at all, so I figured he would have time to see me.
Let me stop you right there, and let me process what you just said. You thought that he would have time to see you.
Yes.
You were thinking what he would be thinking.
Yes.
And?
And I was already more than halfway across the street. I only had a few more steps to get to the other side, so I just quickened up a little bit, and I was almost fully across the street, and then I got hit.
Whose fault is that?
Honestly, I wouldn't say it's anyone's fault.
Well, certainly not his fault. Certainly not his fault. You saw him.
Yes.
Okay. You're jaywalking in the middle of the street, not at a corner. You saw him, and you said to yourself, Self, I think I can make it, right? Mm-hmm. And you didn't. I mean, you don't think that this man sped up because he saw you to hit you, right? Of course not. You don't think he hit you intentionally, right?
No.
You understand that you were in the wrong crossing in the middle of the street.
No.
Well, you are. You're supposed to cross at the corner. That way, people stop. I don't know if you have stop signs, if you have lights. Stop signs or light?
Neither.
Where?
There's not a stop sign or a light. There's a light at the very end of the street.
Okay. Well, I'd like you to go over to the street where you live. And I want you to show me where the light is.
It's not in this picture. It's at the very end.
Okay. Now, on the other street, below...
This one?
That one. Is it a two-way street?
Yes.
It's a two-way street. And at the intersection there, you have 4 lanes of traffic, and you're telling me there's no stop sign or yield sign?
There's a stop sign here.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Of course there's a stop sign. So at the other end of the street, there's a light, and at the corner, there's a stop sign where vehicles have to stop. Right? Right. Now you can step back. So you got hit. And what happened?
I didn't black out. I wasn't unconscious, but it was kind of blurry for a few moments. I just really remember getting hit. I rolled a few times. Everything really became clear again. A few moments later, my legs hurt a lot. I stayed on the ground for a while. I don't know exactly how long. I want to say somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes until the ambulance got there, and they put me on a stretcher and took me to the ambulance.
My daughter has the pictures where the motorcycle was when she was hit.
If you have proof that he went up on the street and hit her, I'd like to see that.
Okay.
Your daughter says she really thought she could make it.
Casey Griffin claims motorcyclist Jeffrey Pearson hit her 16-year-old daughter, Kennedy, while crossing the streets. Jeffrey is countersuing Casey for motorcycle damages.
Go ahead.
I remember he was there too. He apologized for the accident, and he said he didn't mean to do it, and I believed him. I said, it's okay, and I said, thank you. At some point, he left. I remember my brother was there with me while I was still on the road.
And where was your sister?
She was there. I could see her pacing in the peripheral vision, and I could see she was on the phone with somebody, but I couldn't hear. And I think there were 3, maybe 2 people around me. My brother was definitely one of them. He was right to my side, on the ground, kneeling above me, and he had called my mom. Mm-hmm. There was another person, I think somebody who was just driving and got out of their car, and he said...
No, don't tell me what anybody said that got out of their car.
All right.
You can't. It's the law. You can't tell me what somebody else said. The ambulance took you to the hospital?
Yes.
Did you stay in the hospital?
Until 2 in the morning.
So you didn't spend the night there?
No.
And did they take x-rays? You had no broken bones?
No.
Had some scrapes?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask you a couple of other questions that maybe you don't know. Now I'm going to have your mom stand up. When this happened, the defendant gave someone, either your brother or your sister, his information, his insurance information, et cetera. That's correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you contact his insurance company?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And ultimately, his insurance company said the accident was your daughter's fault and they weren't covering any of her expenses.
No, that's not what they told me.
What did they tell you?
They told me that he didn't have coverage. I have the voicemail for it.
Did you have coverage?
I did, ma'am. I do believe that they didn't cover it because it wasn't my fault. That's what I was told.
Do you have a letter from your insurance company?
I have one of my insurance cards, a picture of it.
Okay, I'll take a look at that for now. After his insurance company told you either he didn't have insurance or they weren't paying the bill, did you consult with a lawyer?
No, ma'am, I didn't.
Okay. Now, you just heard your daughter tell me, and she's absolutely charming, lovely, honest, that she didn't think this accident was anybody's fault. You agree with that?
I don't. From what I've been told, no, I don't.
I'd like you to tell me why. Let me recap the facts for you.
Okay.
He hasn't said a word really yet, but from what your daughter tells me, and as I said, she's lovely and bright and articulate and I think honest.
Mm-hmm. She is.
She was jaywalking in the middle of the street, not at a stop sign, not at a light. I haven't asked him, but it's clear even from your daughter's rendition that he certainly didn't intentionally hit her, right? Your daughter says that her brother jaywalked first, crossed over. She was going second, and her older sister, I'm right, you were her older sister, right?
Yes.
Was behind her. She said when she got almost to the middle of the block, she saw from her peripheral vision.
I was more than halfway across the street.
She was more than halfway across the street. She saw in her peripheral vision his motorcycle, which had its lights on, but she thought she could make it. because she said, I thought that he would see me and either stop or go around. I don't know what you thought, either stop, go around. She thought that he would be able to see her. It was like looking in a crystal ball. And he did, in fact, hit her because she was mistaken. He didn't see her, right? No lights. She's crossing in the middle of the street. She saw him. He didn't see her. And it was an accident. Because what my shock is that you are suing him for not only actual damages from whatever out of pocket you may have had, but punitive damages. And you know what that is?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
To punish him for a wrongdoing. Why would you think that he did something to be punished for a wrongdoing?
Because she was already across the street. She was on the side of the road. He was not in the middle of the road when he hit her. She was on the side of the road when she got hit.
That's not what she told me. And your daughter is touching you now, and she's saying to Mom, she's touching you, and she's saying, that's not what happened. She wasn't, your daughter didn't tell me that she was not in the middle of the road. I mean, when you say middle of the road, she wasn't on a street. She was crossing. She's not supposed to cross there.
That's what I'm saying. That's what she said, but she was already across the street. My daughter has the pictures where the motorcycle was when she was hit. Her
I
head
would like to see that. If you, just a second, if you have proof if you have proof that he went up where the cars were parked or went up on the street and hit her, I'd like to see that. Okay. Your daughter says she really thought she could make it. So she kept going, which means she was in the middle of the road. She was in the road where he was supposed to be and she was not supposed to be. If you're telling me that he actually went up on the street and hit her, I'd love to see that.
Okay.
Okay, great. You have that?
Well, he didn't come up on the side of the road, but...
Well, that's what your mother just said.
He was very close to the sidewalk. She was probably about 2 steps away from the sidewalk.
I don't care. He was where he was supposed to be. She was not where she was supposed to be.
I think it was just more so, it was kind of impossible for him not to see her. Because she was basically crossing the street. You're not suggesting that what your daughter says is true, that it was basically not possible for him not to see her. That would mean to me that he hit her on purpose. Are you suggesting that he hit her on purpose?
No, ma'am, I wasn't there, so.
You're not suggesting he hit her on purpose?
No.
Of course not, because his motorcycle was damaged. Why would he hit her on purpose? Okay. I want you to picture this. Cars parked on both sides of the street, motorist is going, and a little kid darts in between 2 cars out in the street, and the car hits him, and he's hurt. Whose fault is that?
Casey Griffin is accusing motorcyclist Jeffrey Pearson of hitting her 16-year-old daughter Kennedy while crossing the streets. Jeffrey claims Kennedy caused the accident and damaged his motorcycle.
An accident is what happens when people don't mean to do something on purpose. That's an accident. When you look at an accident, you have to say, listen, if you have a toddler, a 2-3-year-old, and that 2 or 3-year-old darts out between 2 cars, and a motorist can't stop in time and hits that child, whose fault is that? I'm asking you a question. I want you to picture this. Cars parked on both sides of the street, motorist is going within the speed limit, right? And a little kid darts in between 2 cars out in the street, and the car hits him, and he's hurt. Whose fault is that?
The child.
Actually, it's not the child's. It's the parents who were supposed to be watching him. Now, nobody's suggesting that you're supposed to watch your daughter because she's grown up, almost. Because she's allowed out at night, you allow her to make decisions for yourself. She's as tall as you are. She's bright. So she has to take responsibility for herself. She didn't dart, but he's not aware of what's going on in her mind. So this was an accident. And I can't ascribe any blame to him for that accident unless you saw her.
I did not.
Well, tell me, you were traveling and you hit her with your motorcycle.
I did.
If you had hit her going 55 miles an hour, she would be dead.
Presumably so, yes.
She not only fortunately was not dead, she wasn't seriously injured.
Correct.
Which suggests to a reasonable person that there was not an excessive speed involved. So I want you to tell me what you saw as you were riding down the street.
I thought it was closer to 8 p.m. I turned off of the highway coming from the store and got up to the stop sign, and I went right, which is where this happened.
Point over there.
Can I go
Yeah,
here?
go ahead.
Okay. I come off the highway right here at the stop sign and turn up this way. And as I'm coming up here, there's another car coming down this way toward me. And the car coming toward me, the headlight blinked out for a second. So I let off my throttle on my bike. And then next thing I know, 3 feet in front of me, a girl appears. Now I'm riding down the middle of my lane. I'm not on the sides. I'm not in the middle of the road. I'm in the middle of my lane. When I seen her, I tried to veer off, but I couldn't. And my bike came to a rest. Right there's the entrance to the parking lot. My bike came to a rest right here. She was right here at the corner of that entrance, and I was off my bike trying to help her.
Okay. What happened to your motorcycle?
It damaged the front end of it. I mean, it demolished the front end of my motorcycle. I have pictures if you'd like to see them.
I would.
I also have an estimate on how much damage it did.
This is an older bike.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I can see it's an older bike. What year bike is it?
It's a 1994.
When did you buy it?
About a year ago, year and a half ago.
Who'd you buy it from?
On the internet, right off Facebook.
How much did you pay for it?
I paid $1,500 for it.
Just for giggles, I want to see the estimate that you're going to give me. Okay, so Mr. Pearson,
Yes, ma'am.
you're suing counterclaiming
Yes, ma'am.
because the accident wasn't your fault. And I am finding that the accident was your fault. That but for the fact that you were crossing in the middle of the street, you actually shouldn't have been where you were. He was in the right. You were not. You actually saw him and miscalculated whether or not you could beat him to the corner. That's what you told me. So it's clear to me that this accident was not his fault, but yours. He was clearly not speeding, because if he was speeding, you would have been seriously injured or worse. But Mr. Pearson, you say you paid $1,500 for the entire motorcycle.
Right.
You're suing her for $3,500.
Right.
Well, doesn't that sound silly to you?
No, ma'am.
Well, it is silly.
The condition that the bike was in when I bought it to what it is now, and to put it back to that condition.
Buy another 1994 bike.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Buy another 1994 bike. Sarah Rose, bring up on your trusty calculator. 1994.
Wait, a calculator or Google?
Google,
Yeah.
whatever it is. I don't know what kind of bike this is.
Honda CBR.
Honda CBR?
Yes, ma'am.
CBR.
600.
You want a price? Or...
Yeah. 1994 Honda CBR.
For a very good condition, $3,145, and then it jumps from good condition is about $1,500.
Good condition is $1,500. Well, that's what he paid for it.
Another one just sold for $3,700, fixed up. $3,000 just
Really?
sold.
You got a very good deal, sir, on this motorcycle.
Yes, I
Who'd you
did.
buy it from?
I bought it from a guy up in Troy, Missouri.
Did you put any work into it?
A lot.
A lot. Like, what did you do to it?
The motor had been redone.
After you bought it,
Yeah.
not before you bought it.
No.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Pearson, believe it or not, I really believe that you're entitled to some compensation for the damage caused to your bike. I think she was negligent in crossing the way she did. She was crossing where she shouldn't have been crossing. She saw your bike. She decided to cross anyway. That's the scenario. She decided to cross anyway. She thought she could make it. Well, she didn't. She was injured. That's not your fault. Your bike was injured. That would be her fault. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're going to get what you paid for your bike, $1,500.
Okay.
Judgment on the counterclaim for $1,500. Your claim is dismissed. We're finished. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
I was terrified because I didn't know if she was gonna live, if she was severely hurt or anything. So I was scared.
I wasn't at fault for anything, so I think that I should be paid for the damages to my bike since her daughter ran out in front of me.
He actually told the police officer that his bike was already broke, like it was, before he hit my daughter.
The bike was in almost mint shape.
I was just scared, but when I seen her and I seen that she was okay, I was fine.
I didn't see her until she's about 3 feet in front of my bike, and I couldn't do nothing.
It was really scary.
She didn't even have any visible wounds or anything.
I still don't think the accident was my fault.
Look both ways before you cross the road.
I'm just happy she's still here.
I thought that she was absolutely charming,
Yes.
honest, articulate, and it's true, you know, you're not an insurer just because you're driving a vehicle. You're not. I mean, the example that I gave about the toddler crossing the street.
I think she understood after that. Helped her put it in perspective a
You
little
think
bit.
so?
I think so.
I hope so. She and her mother should just be grateful that she had a couple of scrapes and bruises, but nothing worse than that.
Yeah.
Because if he were going any faster, or if it was a car, she wouldn't be so lucky.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Cross at the green, not in between. That's what you teach your children. I didn't always do that, but if you don't cross at the green, not in between,
crossroads
and
of
if you get into an
responsibility.
accident.
Welcome back, everyone, to another massive blood-boiling deep dive here on Savage Justice, where we do not just passively watch the final verdicts, but we completely tear apart the underlying psychology, the sheer audacity, and the absolute moral decay that brings these people into a court of law in the first place. Today, I need you to grab a drink, get incredibly comfortable, and brace yourselves, because we are unpacking a case that will absolutely test the absolute limits of your patience with modern society. We are dealing with a scenario that goes so far beyond a simple, unfortunate traffic accident that it effectively becomes a masterclass in modern entitlement and the complete, catastrophic death of personal accountability. We have a teenager who made the incredibly dangerous, conscious, and entirely illegal decision to jaywalk across a heavily active, incredibly busy street, completely ignoring the designated crosswalks that were specifically designed for their safety. In doing so, this teenager directly causes a violent collision, getting hit by a motorcyclist who was simply driving down the road, minding their own business, and strictly obeying every single traffic law on the books. Now, in a normal, functioning society grounded in reality, this teenager would be profoundly apologetic, thanking their lucky stars that they survived the impact, and immediately offering to pay for the massive physical damage they caused to the innocent biker's vehicle. But that is not what happened here. Instead of taking an ounce of responsibility, this teenager, backed by an absolutely delusional sense of self-importance, has the unbelievable, mind-bending audacity to hire legal representation and aggressively sue the innocent biker for financial damages. I want that to really sink in for a moment. The perpetrator is legally attacking the victim. Over the next half hour, we are going to meticulously break down the sheer, unadulterated negligence on display in this courtroom. We are going to explore the deeply frustrating psychology of control, the manipulative weaponization of fear, and the absolute, definitive moral lines that were violently crossed the moment this teenager decided their personal convenience was more important than the laws of physics and the safety of the public. This isn't just a story about a dented motorcycle fender or a scraped knee. It is a profound lesson in how a certain segment of our population fundamentally believes that they are the main characters of the universe, and everyone else is just an extra who must aggressively yield to their every whim. Judge Judy's reaction to this towering pile of arrogance is nothing short of legendary, because she serves as the ultimate, uncompromising brick wall of reality for people who have never been told no in their entire lives. We are going to dissect exactly how she dismantles this absurd lawsuit piece by piece, exposing the raw, ugly truth of a generation that desperately needs a massive, unrelenting reality check. Let us immediately dive into the first and arguably the most dangerous psychological theme driving this entire infuriating lawsuit, the absolute delusional illusion of control. To truly understand why this jaywalking incident happened, and more importantly, why the subsequent lawsuit was filed, we have to talk about the fundamental concept of control within a civilized society. In modern traffic systems, strictly enforced rules create essential control. Stoplights, speed limits, and designated pedestrian crosswalks are not just arbitrary lines painted on the asphalt, they are vital. Universally agreed upon social contracts, they are the only things preventing our daily commutes from devolving into chaotic, deadly free-for-alls. When this entitled teenager stood on the side of that busy street and consciously decided to jaywalk, they aggressively stepped completely outside of that carefully controlled environment. But it goes so much deeper than just breaking a minor municipal law. Psychologically, this teen felt they possessed the inherent, unquestionable right to command and control the flow of heavy, Fast-moving traffic simply with their physical presence, they arrogantly assumed that the entire world, including a heavy motorcycle traveling at speed, would miraculously bend to the laws of their immediate convenience. They stepped off that curb with the terrifying, narcissistic belief that the universe would simply stop for them because they had somewhere to be. We see this incredibly toxic phenomenon all the time in today's society, a pervasive, suffocating sense of entitlement where an individual genuinely believes they're minor. Momentary convenience completely outweighs the physical safety, the legal rights, and the overall well-being of every single other person around them. The teenager did not just misjudge the distance of the oncoming motorcycle, they fundamentally misjudged their own level of importance in the grand scheme of reality. They treated a multi-ton piece of moving machinery as if it were a minor inconvenience that was obligated to get out of their way. And when the laws of physics violently disagreed with their sense of entitlement, instead of experiencing a moment of humbling self-reflection, their ego instantly completely shattered, and their immediate, desperate psychological defense mechanism was to aggressively shift the blame. This is precisely why Judge Judy's reaction in the courtroom is so utterly perfect and incredibly satisfying to watch. She doesn't just address the legal statutes of jaywalking, she perfectly targets and completely annihilates this specific lack of situational control. She looks this teenager dead in the eye and aggressively shatters their main character syndrome, forcing them to painfully realize that the world does not revolve around them, that actions have incredibly severe, sometimes fatal consequences, and that a courtroom is not a place where you can legally enforce your own delusions of grandeur upon innocent bystanders who were simply following the rules. As we continue to dissect this absolute masterclass in shifting blame, we have to transition our focus to the incredibly powerful, often weaponized, and deeply misunderstood psychological element of fear that permeates every single aspect of this case. When we talk about fear in the context of a violent traffic collision, our minds naturally, and quite understandably, gravitate immediately toward the intense, heart-stopping physical fear of the sudden impact itself. We think about the screeching tires, the crunch of metal, the terrifying loss of physical control, and the visceral, primal terror of realizing you are about to be seriously injured. But in this specific courtroom battle, the physical fear is only a fraction of the psychological nightmare. I want you to truly, deeply put yourself in the heavy riding boots of that completely innocent motorcyclist for just a few moments. Imagine the scenario: you are riding your motorcycle down a familiar street doing absolutely everything right. You are acutely aware of your surroundings. You are traveling at the legally mandated speed limit. Your eyes are constantly scanning the asphalt, and you are strictly following every single rule of the road that society has collectively established to keep us all alive. And then, in a terrifying fraction of a millisecond, a completely reckless teenager darts out into the active roadway, nowhere near a designated, brightly painted crosswalk, completely violating your right-of-way and giving you absolutely zero physical time or spatial distance to react or safely stop your heavy machine. The sickening impact happens in the immediate chaotic, adrenaline-fueled aftermath of that collision. The biker is not just dealing with the severe physical damage to their expensive motorcycle or the painful injuries to their own body. They are dealing with the overwhelming, nauseating, soul-crushing emotional trauma of having struck a human being. Even when you are 100% legally in the right, even when there was absolutely nothing you could have mathematically done to prevent the accident, the horrifying psychological weight of hitting someone with your vehicle takes a massive, sometimes permanent, emotional toll on a responsible person. But then, the absolute unthinkable happens. Instead of receiving a heartfelt, tearful apology from the teenager who illegally jumped in front of their bike, instead of the teenager admitting their dangerous mistake and thanking God they weren't killed, this traumatized biker is suddenly and aggressively slapped with a formal, financial lawsuit. This is where the dynamic of fear violently shifts and becomes incredibly sinister. The teenager, completely unable to mentally process or accept the sheer magnitude of their own catastrophic stupidity, instinctively uses the legal system to deflect their own internal fear and guilt directly onto the actual victim. This calculated shift in the fear dynamic is a textbook, highly documented psychological defense mechanism known as aggressive blame shifting. The teenager's fragile ego simply cannot handle the objective reality that they are the sole architect of their own physical injuries, so they desperately try to rewrite the narrative. They attempt to financially and legally terrorize the innocent party, trying to make the actual victim feel like the negligent criminal. By filing this absurd lawsuit, the teenager is essentially trying to outsource their own accountability, weaponizing the intimidating machinery of the civil court system to force someone else to pay the heavy price for their own illegal, reckless behavior. It is a breathtaking display of psychological manipulation, and it is exactly the kind of toxic, victim mentality behavior that completely falls apart the second it enters Judge Judy's courtroom. This psychological manipulation inevitably brings us to the absolute core of this entire infuriating legal battle, the definitive, undeniable, and catastrophic crossing of both legal and moral boundaries. In the most literal, physical sense imaginable, this entitled teenager crossed the street exactly where they were strictly, legally prohibited from doing so. They ignored the designated crosswalk, they ignored the flow of traffic, and they literally crossed a solid line that was put there specifically by city engineers to prevent them from getting killed. But that physical transgression, as incredibly dangerous and stupid as it was, pales in comparison to the massive, unforgivable moral boundary they violently crossed the exact moment they signed their name on those lawsuit papers. It is one thing to make a foolish, impulsive mistake as a young person. Human beings are flawed. Teenagers have underdeveloped prefrontal cortexes, and people occasionally make incredibly bad, split-second decisions that lead to accidents. Society can generally forgive an honest mistake if it is followed by genuine remorse, but it is an entirely different, incredibly dark, and malicious level of moral decay to aggressively attempt to financially profit from your own blatant, documented negligence. When the well-worn, incredibly tired societal excuse of kids just being kids and making mistakes aggressively mutates into kids maliciously suing their completely innocent victims for cash, a massive, incredibly dangerous social line is permanently crossed. We are no longer talking about a simple lack of judgment, we are talking about a fundamental rot in personal ethics. What kind of completely delusional support system does this teenager have surrounding them? Who were the adults in the room? The parents, the guardians, the aggressively opportunistic personal injury lawyers? Who sat down with this teenager, looked at the clear facts of the illegal jaywalking, and actually encouraged them to play the victim and sue the biker? This lawsuit did not happen in a vacuum. It is the direct toxic result of a culture that actively rewards victimhood, actively discourages personal accountability, and perpetually teaches people that if something bad happens to you, even if it is entirely your own fault, there must be someone else you can sue for a quick payday. Judge Judy doesn't just look at the dry, black, and white letter of the municipal traffic law when she evaluates this case. She looks directly at the festering moral decay of a human being who completely refuses to take basic, fundamental responsibility for where they decided to put their own 2 feet. She recognizes that if she entertains this absurd lawsuit for even a single second, she is actively endorsing a society where the innocent are financially punished for simply existing, and the reckless are financially rewarded for breaking the law. We are going to spend the rest of this deep dive analyzing every single second of the biker's rock, solid defense, breaking down the highly defensive, incredibly arrogant body language of the jaywalker, and understanding exactly why the objective truth, common sense, and personal responsibility always ruthlessly prevail in Judy's court. When we finally transition from the abstract psychological concepts of fear and control into the stark, brightly lit, and highly intimidating physical reality of Judge Judy's actual courtroom, the sheer undeniable contrast between the two opposing parties becomes immediately and painfully obvious to anyone watching. On one side of the courtroom, you have the absolutely innocent biker, a person who was dragged into this legal nightmare completely against their will, standing there with a heavy, visible posture of exhausted disbelief and lingering trauma. This is an individual who woke up on the morning of the accident expecting nothing more than a routine, peaceful ride down a familiar city street, only to have their entire life, their personal property, and their emotional well being violently upended by the catastrophic selfishness of a stranger. As the biker takes the stand to present their defense, you can hear the absolute frustration and the raw, lingering shock in their voice as they meticulously recount the terrifying split-second timeline of the collision. They passionately articulate the unbending, objective laws of physics that govern a moving motorcycle, carefully explaining to the court that when a human being illegally and unpredictably darts out from behind a line of parked cars or steps off a curb directly into an active lane of fast-moving traffic outside of a clearly marked crosswalk, there is absolutely no amount of defensive driving, no state of the art braking system, and no superhuman reflex speed that can mathematically prevent the impending impact. The biker is forced to stand in a court of law on national television and aggressively defend their own innocence while carrying the heavy, entirely unearned psychological burden of having physically injured a teenager, a burden that was forced upon them by the teenager's own reckless arrogance. On the complete opposite side of the courtroom, standing with an infuriatingly smug, deeply defiant, and entirely unapologetic posture, is the jaywalking teenager who miraculously believes they are the aggrieved victim in this scenario. You watch their dismissive body language, the arrogant rolling of the eyes, the heavy sighs of annoyance when the biker speaks, and the complete, utter lack of basic respect for the solemn judicial process unfolding around them. This teenager stands there radiating a toxic, overwhelming aura of unearned entitlement, clearly demonstrating that they have never once in their entire privileged life been told that they were wrong or forced to face the harsh, unyielding consequences of their own incredibly poor decisions. They listen to the biker recount the terrifying trauma of the accident not with a sense of empathetic guilt or somber reflection, but with the cold, calculated annoyance of someone who is simply waiting for their turn to demand their unearned financial settlement. They genuinely, deeply believe that the simple fact that they were physically injured somehow magically absolves them of all legal and moral responsibility for explicitly causing the accident in the first place. This specific courtroom dynamic perfectly encapsulates a massive, terrifying epidemic in our modern society. The aggressive weaponization of victimhood by the very people who are actively causing the harm, utilizing the legal system not to seek objective justice, but to maliciously extract financial resources from the innocent people they have actively traumatized. It is precisely in this highly toxic, deeply frustrating environment of unearned entitlement and manufactured victimhood that Judge Judy operates at the absolute peak of her judicial power, serving as the ultimate, uncompromising backstop of common sense and objective reality. When Judge Judy leans over that elevated wooden bench, peering over her glasses with that iconic laser-focused stare that has terrified thousands of litigants over the decades, she is not just analyzing the dry municipal codes or reading the sterile police reports, she is actively examining the sheer, unadulterated arrogance of the person standing in front of her. She possesses a profoundly tuned, highly sensitive radar for exactly this type of manipulative nonsense, honed by years of listening to scammers, grifters, and deeply entitled individuals try to legally justify their own catastrophic stupidity. The exact moment the jaywalking teenager attempts to open their mouth to confidently spin their pathetic, victim-centered narrative, Judge Judy ruthlessly cuts them off, completely shutting down their carefully rehearsed, manipulative excuses before they can even draw a full breath. She aggressively attacks the entire, fundamentally flawed premise of their absurd lawsuit, systematically dismantling the ridiculous notion that pedestrians automatically possess a magical, impenetrable shield of absolute right of way regardless of how recklessly, illegally, or unpredictably they choose to behave on an active roadway. She forces this teenager, perhaps for the very first time in their entire completely sheltered and aggressively enabled life, to stare directly and uncomfortably into the harsh, unforgiving mirror of objective reality and personal accountability. She loudly and emphatically re-establishes the absolute legal and moral crossed line that we discussed earlier, making it crystal clear to the teenager, to their enabling legal counsel, and to the millions of people watching at home that the designated crosswalk is not just a gentle suggestion painted on the asphalt, it is a rigid, non-negotiable legal boundary that separates safety from catastrophe and liability from innocence. When Judge Judy delivers her searing, unforgettable verbal reprimand, she is actively tearing down the teenager's deeply ingrained, dangerously inflated ego brick by brick. She doesn't just hand down a legal verdict dismissing the frivolous lawsuit. She delivers a devastating moral condemnation of a societal mindset that actively encourages people to blindly walk into traffic and then enthusiastically sue the person who had the extreme misfortune of not being able to violate the laws of physics to avoid hitting them. Her courtroom is the final, unyielding bastion of absolute accountability, a place where your feelings, your personal convenience, and your deeply held delusions of self-importance completely instantly evaporate the exact second they collide with the cold, hard, undeniable facts of your own documented negligence. She brilliantly transforms this single absurd traffic dispute into a massive, universally applicable masterclass on why society absolutely must enforce personal responsibility. Because if we allow the reckless to continuously and legally punish the responsible, the entire functional fabric of our civilized society will inevitably and rapidly collapse. As the intensely heated courtroom proceedings finally reach their inevitable, dramatic climax, the absolute, palpable tension in the room becomes so incredibly thick that you could practically cut it with a knife. This is the exact moment where the abstract legal arguments, the deeply arrogant posturing, and the emotionally exhausting testimonies all violently collide with the unbending, objective hammer of judicial reality. When Judge Judy finally raises her voice to deliver her ultimate verdict, she is not simply reading a sterile legal decree off a piece of paper. She is delivering a massive, culturally necessary shockwave of common sense directly into the completely delusional ecosystem that this entitled teenager has built around themselves. She emphatically, and with a deeply satisfying level of judicial aggression, completely dismisses the teenager's absurd lawsuit in its entirety, explicitly stating that the teenager is 100% legally, morally, and functionally responsible for every single scrap of damage, both physical and financial, that resulted from their own catastrophic decision to illegally step into moving traffic. I want you to carefully watch the immediate, contrasting physical reactions of the two parties the exact second that verdict is loudly handed down. On the side of the innocent biker, you immediately witness a profound, overwhelming, and deeply emotional physical release. The heavy, suffocating burden of the manufactured legal fear, the terrifying prospect of financial ruin, and the completely unearned psychological trauma of the past several months visibly, instantly lifts from their shoulders. You can almost see the massive exhalation of breath as the objective truth of their total innocence is finally, formally, and legally recognized and vindicated on national television by a respected authority figure. They are finally allowed to step out of the dark, terrifying shadow of this completely frivolous lawsuit and begin the actual, healthy process of healing from the traumatic accident that they never asked to be a part of. Conversely, on the side of the jaywalking teenager, you witness something incredibly rare and deeply satisfying: the absolute, real-time shattering of a fundamentally impenetrable, narcissistic ego. The smirk completely vanishes from their face, replaced instantly by a look of sheer, unadulterated shock, deep confusion, and a sudden, terrifying realization that they cannot actually manipulate, argue, or whine their way out of this one. For the very first time in their entire, aggressively coddled existence, the impenetrable shield of their own manufactured victimhood has been violently ripped away, leaving them completely exposed to the harsh, unforgiving, and deeply uncomfortable glare of their own undeniable accountability. They are suddenly forced to mentally process the terrifying reality that not only are they not going to receive a massive, unearned financial payout to fund their reckless lifestyle, but they have been publicly, globally branded as the sole negligent party in a major collision. This single, powerful moment of judicial clarity is exactly why this specific television program resonates so deeply with millions of people around the world. We are living in a highly frustrating modern society where it often feels like the arrogant, the reckless, and the deeply entitled are constantly rewarded, while the rule-following, responsible citizens are continuously punished and exploited. Watching Judge Judy completely annihilate this frivolous lawsuit provides a massive, desperate dose of cathartic justice for a viewing public that is absolutely starving for basic common sense. It forcefully reaffirms the fundamental social contract that keeps our civilization functioning, that your actions, especially your reckless, illegal actions, have severe, unavoidable consequences, and that you cannot simply weaponize the legal system to force innocent people to clean up the catastrophic messes that you actively choose to create. But as we deeply analyze the aftermath of this shocking, entirely justified verdict, we must aggressively expand our critical focus beyond just the teenager standing in that courtroom, because a completely frivolous, mathematically absurd lawsuit of this magnitude does not just miraculously manifest out of thin air. We have to have a very serious, deeply uncomfortable conversation about the vast, toxic ecosystem of enablers who actively pushed, encouraged, and legally facilitated this travesty of justice from the very beginning. Who exactly are the parents, the legal guardians, or the highly influential adult mentors in this young person's life who sat down around a kitchen table, listened to the indisputable fact that their child illegally ran into active traffic outside of a crosswalk, and actually said, "Yes, you are the victim here. Let us immediately hire a lawyer and aggressively sue the innocent person whose vehicle you dented with your body." This represents a staggering, apocalyptic failure of basic parental responsibility and moral guidance. Instead of using this terrifying, near-fatal accident as a massive, life-altering teachable moment about the vital importance of traffic safety, personal responsibility, and the fragility of human life, these enabling adults actively chose to coddle the teenager's worst, most narcissistic impulses. They essentially taught this young person that objective truth does not matter, that personal accountability is strictly for losers, and that the only thing that truly matters in this world is aggressively manipulating the legal system to extract unearned financial resources from anyone who happens to be involved in your own chaotic mistakes. And we absolutely cannot ignore the deeply cynical, highly predatory role of the personal injury legal industry in this specific scenario. The fact that any licensed attorney, bound by theoretical ethical standards, would look at the completely objective, black and white facts of this illegal jaywalking incident and actually agree to draft formal lawsuit papers against the completely innocent biker is a massive indictment of how deeply broken and greed-driven certain sectors of our civil litigation system have actually become. These opportunistic legal entities thrive on exploiting the absolute worst, most selfish instincts of entitled individuals, clogging our incredibly vital, overburdened court systems with completely meritless, aggressively frivolous lawsuits that do nothing but drain the financial resources, the emotional bandwidth, and the precious time of truly innocent people. When Judge Judy aggressively throws this case out, she is not just delivering a searing reprimand to the jaywalking teenager, she is actively pushing back against this entire, deeply toxic cottage industry of manufactured grievance. She is loudly declaring that the court of law is a sacred space designed for the pursuit of objective truth and the restitution of genuine harm, not a highly weaponized casino where the reckless can gamble with the lives and livelihoods of the responsible. This case serves as a massive, glaring warning siren for our entire culture, forcing us to ask ourselves what kind of society we are actually building when we actively encourage our youth to view every single accident, even the ones they explicitly cause through their own blatant criminality, as a lucrative lottery ticket. It highlights the absolute, critical necessity of instilling a deep, unshakable sense of personal accountability in the next generation, because if we continue to culturally reward this level of extreme, manipulative victimhood, we are going to completely destroy the fundamental foundation of trust and mutual responsibility that keeps our communities safe and functional. As we step back and deeply analyze the massive, sweeping implications of this singular courtroom event, we are forced to aggressively confront a deeply unsettling reality about the current trajectory of our society and the fundamental, terrifying erosion of the social contract. The social contract is the invisible, universally agreed upon ethical framework that dictates that we all inherently owe each other a basic, unyielding baseline level of respect, caution, and shared responsibility when navigating our public spaces. When that jaywalking teenager consciously decided to illegally sprint across a busy, fast-moving avenue, they did not just break a minor, easily dismissible municipal traffic law. They aggressively and violently tore up that invisible social contract, loudly declaring that their immediate personal convenience was infinitely more valuable than the physical safety, the mental well-being, and the personal property of every single other person operating within that shared ecosystem. This case represents the absolute, terrifying zenith of the modern entitlement epidemic, where the critical concept of the collective good has been completely, suffocatingly overshadowed by the aggressive, uncompromising demands of the hyper-individual. We are currently raising a generation in a highly sanitized, incredibly litigious culture where the concept of a true, blameless accident is rapidly going completely extinct, replaced entirely by a predatory, highly toxic mindset that demands a financial scapegoat for every single negative occurrence in life, even when that negative occurrence is the direct, mathematically undeniable result of the victim's own blatant criminality and lack of spatial awareness. Judge Judy's courtroom operates as the absolute last, desperately needed line of defense against this creeping societal anarchy. When she delivers these harsh, uncompromising, and deeply humiliating verdicts on national television, she is not just resolving a minor small claims dispute over a dented motorcycle fender or a pile of emergency room bills. She is actively engaging in a desperate, high-stakes battle for the very soul of our cultural morality. She is fiercely holding the line, refusing to yield even a single, microscopic inch to a culture of excuse, actively demonstrating that true justice is completely blind to your manufactured tears, your entitled whining, and your aggressive attempts to weaponize the legal system for your own unearned financial gain. Her rulings serve as a massive, glaring lighthouse of objective truth in a vast, dark ocean of subjective, manipulative nonsense, aggressively reminding every single person watching at home that true personal empowerment does not ever come from playing the eternal, helpless victim, but from standing up, owning your catastrophic mistakes, taking your lumps, and learning the harsh, necessary lessons that build genuine human character. If we completely fail to heed this massive, televised warning, if we continue to passively allow the reckless and the arrogant to financially and legally terrorize the responsible and the law-abiding, we will inevitably create a society completely paralyzed by fear, where no one is willing to drive a vehicle, run a business, or even interact with the general public out of the terrifying, ever-present threat of being frivolously sued by someone who outright refuses to look both ways before crossing the street. This entire deep dive analysis has been an absolutely exhausting, deeply emotional, and incredibly frustrating psychological journey from start to finish, but it is exactly the type of raw, unfiltered, completely necessary reality check that our modern society desperately needs to deeply dissect, analyze, and truly understand on a fundamental level. We absolutely cannot afford to just passively look away, scroll past the video, or change the channel when the reality of human behavior gets deeply uncomfortable or legally infuriating. But I have been talking for practically an entire hour now, meticulously breaking down the intricate, dark psychology of control and fear, the massive, catastrophic systemic failures of modern parenting and entitlement, and the brutal, incredibly satisfying legal consequences of this specific courtroom showdown, and now, it is finally, officially your turn to speak up and make your voice heard. I want you to absolutely flood the comment section down below right now. Tell me your personal, unfiltered, honest stories. Have you ever been driving your car or riding your motorcycle and had someone completely recklessly dart out in front of you without warning? Have you ever been explicitly blamed or far worse, legally sued for a chaotic situation that was entirely, undeniably caused by someone else's blatant negligence and refusal to follow the rules? Tell me exactly what you think should legally happen to the aggressively enabling parents or the predatory personal injury lawyers who actively encourage, fund, and facilitate these completely frivolous, time-wasting lawsuits. Should there be mandatory, uncompromising financial penalties and counter suits for people who intentionally weaponize the civil court system to harass innocent victims? Let your powerful, undeniable voice be heard right now in the comments below. I am going to be spending hours poring over your responses, reading, liking, and heavily replying to your incredible, thought-provoking insights and personal experiences. If you genuinely appreciate these massive, incredibly detailed, hour-long psychological breakdowns of the most intense, blood-boiling courtroom drama on television, if you actively want to keep looking far past the surface narrative to truly understand the dark truth of human behavior and legal accountability, you absolutely must smash that like button and heavily subscribe to Savage Justice right now. We are actively building a massive, unstoppable, fiercely intelligent community of truth seekers here, and we desperately want you to be a permanent vocal part of it. Thank you so incredibly much for sticking with me through this entire, exhausting, but completely necessary hour-long journey into the depths of courtroom psychology. Protect your peace of mind. Fiercely stand up for the vulnerable. Always speak the absolute, uncompromising truth, no matter how unpopular it might be in the moment. And until next time, stay savage, stay highly aware of your surroundings, and stay incredibly safe out there on the roads.